every sensation tells a story, and the body will hold on to each chapter, even the ones that our minds kind of want to skim past. That might be grief that hasn't been released, pleasure and desire that maybe have been suppressed or unexplored, and feelings of safety that maybe we've never actually allowed ourselves to trust and lean into. Some of you know that I started my career in the trauma world, and part of my work there was helping people cope with things like intrusive thoughts, nightmares, memories that really upended my clients' ability to live their lives, not their best lives, just their lives in general. But the truth is that trauma doesn't just live in memories. It can live in things like posture and tone and digestion, and absolutely it can live in sexual desire. And so we often talk about trauma as something that lives in our memories and is framed as the story that we tell, the moment we recall, this thing that happened. But the research itself is actually really clear that trauma lives as much in the body as it does in the mind. And recent studies have actually started to show that trauma can reshape things like posture and muscle tone and, the way that the body actually holds itself in space. And there's been several, meta-analyses and what I like to call nerd shit over the last couple of years that have found that people with trauma histories will carry more tension, have more instability, and more signs of what they call chronic autonomic activation. And they do this long after the event is over. Let me go back to something. Chronic autonomic activation is just a really long, fancy way of saying when the body gets stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. And so you might, if you have a smart wearable that measures stress, you might know what I'm about to talk about here. So I used to have a smartwatch. I don't anymore, partially because of this. And, several years ago when I would look at my smartwatch, it had this stress reading. And literally from the moment I would wake up until the moment I went to sleep, with the exception of when I was actually doing exercise, it looked like a bear was chasing me all day. All day. My stress level was crazy high. Okay. And I wasn't actually feeling stress. My mind and my personality wasn't measuring or thinking that I was super stressed out, but my body, my physiological system, my autonomic nervous system was like, oh my gosh, we are running, we are going. In fact, the only time that it stopped doing that was when I actually went and worked out hard, went for a run or something like that. And when I did that more consistently, it's almost as if it reset the scales, because my body was like, oh yes, we're really stressed, a bear is chasing us. And then when I would go for a run, it's like, no, this is what it feels like, if you do sprints or something like that as part of intervals, you're like, no, this is what it feels like when a bear is chasing you. And then it could kind of start to reset. But I thought that was so fascinating. So if you have ever looked at your smartwatch and thought, this thing's not working, it says I'm super stressed all the time, it could be that you actually are in this state of chronic autonomic activation. So might be worth talking to somebody about to see if that's actually what's going on.